we did, ladies and gentlemen, we brought you all the evidence in the case. And all the evidence in the case clearly contradicts an attempted sexual battery. Your job here is to find her guilty of the highest count. And that highest count is sexual battery. Now, her confession, we'll talk about that in a moment, but there's the other evidence that came out. Mr. Wood says that that's not something for you to rely on. Well, that's not exactly correct. It's not something for you to convict her of those other things, of the other video you saw of 9 seconds, and of the other pictures, and of the chat, but those are things you can rely on to determine her motive, her opportunity, her lack of accident. She's claiming in her defense here that she didn't do it, that it was a lack of accident, lack of mistake, it wasn't something she did. Well, you get to look at these photographs of her doing this to her child to determine what her motive, her opportunity, what she was intending to do, ladies and gentlemen. And I submit to you, when you do that, when you listen to what happened in that chat, listen to what happened in it. She's farting in my mouth. Does that sound like someone who's not putting their mouth up to their child? She's peeing in my mouth. Does that sound like someone who's not putting their mouth up to their child? All we have to prove is contact. And what is contact? This is contact. I'm touching this. That's it. You, of course, we believe the evidence substantiates that her tongue entered her daughter's vagina, but even if you go back there and you say, Mr. Ladon, Mr. Lewis, they're crazy, the evidence is not there of that. If all you have to find is that her mouth had contact with Abigail's vagina. And ladies and gentlemen, the evidence is overwhelming here. If you look at the chats, you'll see that Mr. Wood tried to downplay, saying that the defendant was being domineered, or was because of Mr. Dykes, and that's what was in her statement. If you listen to what happened in here, she talked about making suggestions of what to do. Do you want me to eat her out? Do you want me to do this? This defendant, right here, did an act that was unspeakable that day to her child. You get to consider all the other acts that happened for specific purposes, like I mentioned. Let's talk about her statement. You heard Mr. Wood gets up here and he says that Veronica Edwards and Vinnie Cassidy coerced his client, or that's what got her to talk, or she's 20 years old, and I don't know. Did you see Veronica Edwards? She's about 5'2". Is she intimidating at all? Did you hear that statement? Was she mean? Did she intimidate her? Was she rude? That was about the most calm and demure interview I've ever heard, ladies and gentlemen. You get to listen to that and make your own determination, but I would submit to you, it's clear as day that there was no coercion, nothing. And even if Mr. Wood says she doesn't have her lawyer, she was given an opportunity to get a lawyer. Not only was she read her Miranda rights, but before that, she was told by the agent who sat up here, she said in the interview, you don't have to talk to us. We're doing a search warrant, you don't have to do anything. But the defendant talked to them. And let's talk about her statement. She's 20 years old, okay? She has a baby, though. She is 20 years old, and that's an adult. That's someone who can think and make their own decisions. So let's talk about what she says in her statement. Before I get to that, though, I do want to just cover that. Well, we'll just talk about the statement. Mr. Wood says the statement itself creates reasonable doubt. Well, here's what I want you to do. If you get back there and you say that this statement doesn't establish anything and I think it's just junk or whatever, crumble it up, throw it in the trash, because you don't even have to rely on it. Because that video in and of itself, with the other evidence, the evidence of her other acts that she did that you get to use for opportunity, for the motive, for lack of accident, you can throw the confession out. But I would submit to you, ladies and gentlemen, listen to that confession carefully. This is a mother of a baby, and at the very beginning, she cries one little time. And then is there any other emotion throughout the whole interview? Any other sign of doubt? Any other like, oh my God, I'm so upset, I can't believe I did this to my child? No, it's so matter-of-fact and straightforward, her admitting to him. I submit to you, that's an individual who knows she's caught and she's giving it up. Let's go through some of her stuff from her statement.
It just looks like it. You would have your child exposed to genitals exposed, and you would be touching, licking, or whatever your child's genitals for a protracted period of time while he's watching, correct?
Yes.
So let's think about this for a second. Not only do we have a mother who sexually abuses her child, she's not even doing it for her own gratification. This woman sitting right here is on video chatting with another man who's not there, and she's abusing her child to satisfy him. Keep that in mind, ladies and gentlemen, because what's interesting is Mr. Dykes is this person who's getting gratified by it. He's watching on video. You remember in one of the chats where he says, no, chow down harder? He's watching it, and he's perceiving and being able to see it. So any assertion that she's not doing it, it's just not there, ladies and gentlemen. Another statement from her confession.
Is this when you're performing sex on her? Okay, so
We take her out of her crib and she's sleeping and then proceed to do this. Is that correct?
yes.
We're not talking about one time in her interview where she keeps saying it. It's over and over and over again, ladies and gentlemen.
And these sessions would last for how long?
Sometimes an hour, sometimes if he was sleepy, he'd be like, okay, we're done for the night, or,
And during that whole hour, you're touching, you're making contact with your genitals with your lips.
yes.
Right, Judge, you may approach side bar as an objection to that.
All right.
And ladies and gentlemen, throughout that hour, she admits she's making contact with her genitals with her lips. I don't know how much more clear it could be. Her own words saying she did it. once again, her admission to using her tongue on Abby, ladies and gentlemen, so there's no doubt it wasn't attempted. It was the real thing.
So, I just want to make sure, just tell me the truth, okay? Because I do know that there is penetration with tongue, okay? So, that's correct, right?
Yes.
Her own admission, penetrating with the tongue. Ladies and gentlemen, you came through the door with your common sense, and you're not going to walk through this door and lose it. When you go through that door, though, you're going to have the evidence, you're going to have the testimony, and your common sense. Ladies and gentlemen, I submit to you, this is a case that is overwhelming with evidence. And when you go back in that room, I submit to you, this should not be a hard decision. This is one where you sit down, you look at the evidence, and I think it's a case where you can make a decision quickly. You apply your common sense to the facts, and remember this is a case about Vickers being sexually abused on video by her mother. I ask you, ladies and gentlemen, to find her guilty of that sexual battery when you go back to that room by checking sexual battery under 12 and promotion of sexual performance by a minor. Thank you.